It's been about a month since I did that first video. I wanted to do it just about every day since, but I just haven't been able to bring myself to it. It's been messy, and this is difficult. This is the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. I hope never to find anything to challenge it. It's over a month now, and I still really can't focus on anything. I would have never thought that. I would have thought that was good. I don't know what I would have thought. I never gave it any thought. This isn't one of those things I dwelled on. It was an impossibility. But in a nutshell, for a while, it was good. Just every day, I would wake up. If you can barely call it waking up, because it seems like I've barely slept. But I'd wake up with a crushing anxiety, and I, to the best of my knowledge, never really experienced anxiety. I've had a little bit here and there, I guess, like just for certain challenging things, like jumping out of an airplane, whatever. It's pretty obvious, but this is debilitating. Like, I just wake up just in fight or flight mode, and it was definitely flight. It just seems there's so much to do. Even, I'm sure from the outside looking in, it would seem like, okay, there's logical steps. You should do this. You should do that. But I can't. I'm hamstrung. This is difficult. So I just want to be real about this. I'm not trying to gloss this over. I'm not trying to, it's going to be super motivational. I'm not trying to go rah, 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 because that's just not how I feel. And I think what's going to, first and foremost, this will be for me. This is a video journal. I've been journaling every day. That's actually been helping. I think it's been helping. I don't know if it's been helping. I've started doing the Wim Hof breathing exercises every morning. They can't hurt. So it's a form of meditation, if nothing else. But I started doing them. The anxiety went away. And I thought, wow, I remember crushing anxiety for however long. And all of a sudden, I started doing the breathing. I had 3 straight days of no anxiety. I'm like, wow, okay, something's working. And then I got 2 days after that was the crushed. It was the worst. Like yeah. Okay, so let me figure if I can have any kind of linear flow to this. Every day I have to look at and just, I'm lonely. I can't tell you how lonely I am. We're in Compiègne, and we had moved out of Paris, and it was supposed to be easier here, just peaceful. Melissa and I were going to get our business back on track. We could concentrate. We could hop in the car. We could go to cool places. We had a river running through town. I've got what's called this cool chateau palace behind me, which is right down the street from where we live. And I can't get my bearings. So I'm in the process of moving back to Paris. I say in the process of moving back to Paris. Everything is a process. It seems undoable. My house is so full of shit that I can't even wrap my head around it. I didn't realize what a sentimental pack rat I was. And my wife, I knew we thought about it, but every single thing in my house right now is a story that I relate back. And every time I try to move something, I break down. So I have to get rid of almost everything. This is years worth of accumulation. This is stuff before. And it's all got to go. I have to get rid of it. I need to get lean and get mobile. Again, my 18-year-old daughter's living with me. She was living with us, and she was going to move to Paris, and we were going to hang here and we'd be close by. But now we're both going back, and the financial situation is a struggle because Melissa was a whiz at all things numbers. And that was her before we met. She was a CFO, and I was a photo assistant and working on being a photographer. Thinking that I was punching way above my weight. And I've thought that pretty much the entire time we were together, 24 years. And she took care of everything. She took care of, I'm a hard worker. I can normally focus on my task. I'm very good with the camera. Our business was doing what, back in the US, our business was firing on all cylinders. Then we moved out to France, and because things kind of stalled because we had wanted to completely change up, and so we hadn't given everything a lot of thought. But we're optimistic. We're very, very optimistic, and we're doing some of the same things we were doing there. Okay, so sometimes you have to borrow money, you have to spend money to make money, and all the cliches. You go into some debt, knowing that you'll recoup it and push back through, pay it off, and everything's going to work out. So that's what we were doing. And when she was doing all the behind the scenes stuff, I was just walking through life in a daze, apparently, and not really even paying attention to just how much that she did until now that she's dead, and I don't know anything. Like I'm completely drowning in the day-to-day. They're trying to run a business, trying to pay our bills. Again, she's the one of us that spoke French. I'm learning, but it's going slow, and I didn't have the fire under me, apparently, and now I do, because I've got nothing. I've got nobody to translate for me. I have to figure this out and deal with French bureaucracy and just day-to-day stuff. Again, so I can get by day-to-day stuff, but I don't even know about our American stuff. Again, I'm front of the house. I smile. I point to camera. I'm very good at that. Again, the two of us together, we're a great team. But I had no idea, and I always joked with everybody, like, the reason the lights are on in the business is because of her, not me. And now I completely see that I wasn't lying about that at all. I have no idea how to file our taxes. I have no idea how to do all sorts of stuff. All the utilities here were in her name because she spoke French and she could read and do all that, and she just put it all on her. So suddenly she's gone. We didn't have any time to arrange anything, to go over anything. She found out that she was sick 28 days before being pronounced dead. Like, there was she never had any symptoms but a cough. She never coughed up blood, nothing. Tired because she was just getting poor sleep because she had broken her wrist and had a big cast on. And anyway, so once we found out that she was sick, which was after a scan that said that she had stage 4 lung cancer, I'm like, well, she didn't even smoke. She didn't smoke. She's a vegetarian, CrossFit and all that stuff. But it took us by complete surprise. And we didn't know at that point, again, how bad this was going to be. So we figured, okay, well, there's a bunch of different treatments, so we'll probably have some time, and we'll just process this, figure it out, go over what we need to go over, and that would be that. But that never happened. She had told me on the way. We went to go grab a drink right after we got the initial call from the doctor saying that we're going to check you in without really telling us even why. And so I looked up I just grabbed the results and threw them into AI and had it interpret it for me, and it said it looked like lung cancer, stage 4. So we were gut punched, and we went out to go for a drink. And on the way there, she said, what if today's the last good day of my life? And I'm like, that's silly. It can't even be. It's impossible. And she was right. She's like, what if I check in and I never check back out? And that's exactly what happened. Like, that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. And so, as we got in, we were in the hospital, and every day was something. And we want to go over a few things, but it just didn't seem like it was the day. So we'll do it tomorrow. Okay, so all right, we'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and we may forget. And then the next day comes, and okay, let's talk about this. No. That's easy, we'll just do it tomorrow. Okay, well, tomorrow kept coming and going. And I'm not about to tell her that let's talk about business or freaking taxes or stupid shit that I can eventually figure out on my own when she's dying. Like, who does that? Like, that's Maybe if we had a year, then we might have gone over some of that. But maybe at 2 years, maybe we got over that. 6 months, who knows? I don't know. But we had 28 days, and a lot of those days weren't good. Like toward the end, she was. It had. I don't know if the fact that it had metastasized into her brain had anything to do with it, or just the absolute shock of that. But 28 days from, hi, we're going to check you in, you're going to need to check into the hospital, to 50 minutes after midnight on May 27th, 2025, she was pronounced dead. Yeah, and so every day since then is me trying to just figure shit out. And I'm having a hard time figuring it out. I know everybody says, because I'm on the phone all the time. I spend more time on the phone than I think I've ever spent on the phone in my life. Thank God I've got some great friends back in the U.S., but they're all back in the U.S. And I'm here, and I've got my daughter, but she stays in her room. She's a teenager. She's processing grief in her own way. And then some of her friends came up from the U.S., so she's staying with them. So I'm legitimately by myself. So if it wasn't for my friends back in the U.S. who were just constantly reaching out to me, making sure that I'm okay, I don't know if I would be okay. It helps to talk. It helps to journal. It helps at this point to talk to a camera. But every day there's tears. Every day there's tears. I had thought when we moved here, being much smaller than Paris, was that I walk everywhere with my camera. So I can just, if you know me, you know I've got my camera on me, chances are. So I figured at some point I'm just going to annoy the local town people. They're going to go, oh, there's that guy with the camera. Instead, I think I'm going to be known for is there's that guy who cries all the time in the street. And, oh, he has a camera too. But that's not an exaggeration. Like now I'm not crying every single day in the street. I'm crying still every single day, but not always in the street, but with some frequency. Yesterday, there's a church that I pass by all the time. I'm not a religious man by any means. I could almost be considered anti-religious. Like, it's more power, whatever makes people happy. But there's some solace to be had. I find to go walk into one of these medieval churches, and there's just something still and calming. And so almost every time I walk by that church, I end up just popping in, going to roughly the same spot. It's usually empty when I go in. And usually within a minute or so, I'm in tears. So the other day, I was walking by, I thought I was too busy to stop in. Something just pulled me back, and I went in, sat in my same rough area, and I didn't start crying. I just closed my eyes. I'm having a monologue with Melissa. I'm just talking to her, and again, hoping that she can hear. And then, of course, I just started bawling, and then some people, usually no one's there to notice, but this time I think some people noticed. And so when I walked out, I got my composure, walked out. These two ladies had been waiting for me, it seems, and they were very super nice. Like, I could hand me a card saying, Jesus loves me and whatnot. And they were French. The one woman spoke very, very well in English. And she was very compassionate, very, very nice. But I had to go. I started crying again. I had to leave. And so then I walk across the street, and I get my composure, I think. I get to the diagonal corner, and I just started wailing and sobbing and gasping. Again, it was a sight. And there's a man walking down the street toward me, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to hide. I can't hide this. This isn't who I am. What's the point in hiding this? To my surprise, it's because he put his hand on my shoulder and asked me if I was okay in French. I'm like, that was very kind of him. Like, how many people do that? Like, I know in New York, Phoenix, people are going to part around you. They're going to worry that whatever you've got is contagious. So anyway, it kind of restored a bit of my faith. But yeah, okay, this ramble this is who I am right now. I would say the most overwhelming thing is just looking at the entire picture. Like, what I've got to do wrapping this house up, which is in boxes still. that never got unpacked, as well as all sorts of other stuff. Now I've got to go from a large 3-bedroom apartment in Compiègne into a small, probably 1-bedroom, because Gabby wants to get her own place. A small 1-bedroom furnished. My furniture won't fit there. I've got too much stuff to bring. I can't get it into. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. There's just too much stuff. I have to throw. And by throwing away, the majority of it's just going to be donated to charity. There's a lot of memory. I've got so many pictures of our kids in so many albums. That's a side effect of being a photographer and loving your kids. But there's so much to do. I have to figure out how I'm going to make money. Right now, I'm doing nothing but spending money. The business is pretty much dead. Like, we haven't been working in a while now, and just accumulating debt. So now the debt has to be paid. Money has to be made. I have to live. We were working on things. We had some, I think, good ideas that were going to get us rolling forward, and was going to, again, start bringing the money in and pay off the debt. Started saving and just basically doing the same trajectory that made us successful back in the U.S. But now that's all dead in the water, because Melissa was a key component of all that. I was doing the editing, I was doing the filming and whatnot, but she was doing the organizing, the note-taking, the this, the that, setting up websites, you name it, so much stuff. And now I just don't feel that I can do anything with that, so that's all completely stopped, and therefore I have to, it's like I'm starting my first job hunt at the age of 57. Luckily, again, I've got marketable skills. One marketable, 2. I can bartend and I can use a camera. So once I can again get my head clear and come up with some ideas, we'll figure out how to turn these things into ways for me to survive. But right now, the money's hemorrhaging. It's all going out, which is so insanely stressful. And if I had Melissa with me, I could sit there and talk to her. We could strategize. We could do what we always did: lean on each other, talk to each other, comfort each other, be each other's cheerleader. Know that we can do this. We can face anything together. But now, again, I feel all by myself. Even though I know I've got a whole village of people around the world. Again, I seem to know people in time zones across the globe, and I use that. I walk my dogs in the morning. I'm looking, okay, well, which time zone is up? Who can I call? And it's been super, super helpful, because sometimes the thoughts can get so dark. I didn't know I was even capable of that. I've always been so optimistic. I used to pretend to be pessimistic just for fun when I was younger. But what's the fun? Again, it just stops being fun. It's just optimism. It was just who I am, who Melissa was. And it worked. It was good. It was contagious. And now I'm having the hardest time being optimistic. The most optimistic I can be is that I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And during the course of this, there's plenty of times I've thought about why I don't want to. And it's even ways to make that happen have started to get into my head. And that's just not who I am. And it was easy at first to just, okay, shoo, go away, dark thought. Just get out of here. Don't stay with me. And they were gone, but they're persistent. They're sneaky. They come up and they just keep hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. And you need some. I don't know. Everybody does things differently. I assume if you're in a position that's like that, you should talk to somebody, because I don't know. I can't say what would have happened or what will happen, but I know that what's going on. My friends and my sister-in-law have helped. Again, the thought that was going to also. My inner thought was that I have daughters. I can't make them an orphan. I can't make them orphans. They just lost their mother. They can't lose their father that fast too. Even though it sounds at various points, I swear it sounds like all I want to do, but I can't. I can't bring myself to do it, because I can't hurt my kids. My friends would be very upset, but again, my friends will get over it faster than my children will, and I've always been one to preach, there's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. You just never know. Tomorrow could be worse, but it could be better. And if you keep stringing a bunch of tomorrows along, you're bound to find a better. And this is exactly what I would say to anybody, and it's what's coming back to me. My friends are hitting me with my logic. It's not my logic, it's pretty universal, I think. But I never realized that would be a hard thing to actually grasp. I never realized that I would have to hear it, and that I would need it. But it does seem that way. It's very, very scary. And I'm very, very thankful that I've got such good friends that are concerned, and even though they're a world away, they're constantly on me about just trying to keep me talking. And I say that seems to be how I process stuff. I think better when when my mouth is moving. I'm not sure exactly why, but it just seems to be the way it is. Again, I don't like to talk to myself. Now so I'm talking to a camera. Usually I would talk to Melissa, or I'd call somebody up. But usually it was Melissa because she was always there. I don't have her anymore, and I never will. She died about a week shy of our 22nd anniversary. We were together 24 years. We got married 2 years in, had our first daughter the year after that. And we never got to experience the empty nest thing and going out and being adults again. Because the majority of our lives together were with kids. And they were just old enough to move out and go start their own thing. We could be there for them. We could give them encouragement, guidance, but still do our own thing, travel, be together as a couple. Now we'll never get a chance to do that. So that was a little over a week before our 22nd anniversary. And 2 days ago, like today's July 4th, 2 days ago is the 56th birthday of hers. She wasn't here to celebrate it, of course. But my daughters, my younger one and I got a cake and candles and got my older daughter and my sister-in-law onto a video call, and we just sang, which I got one verse into it, and it was a mess. But then after I finally struggled through the song, we talked for like 15 or so minutes, because my sister-in-law had to work, because we're 9 hours ahead of. But that was that. It was very helpful. I think, I can't tell you. I just felt that it had to be done. So that was the second or third big first. I guess the first would have been the first morning waking up without her, knowing that she wasn't there. The second would be our anniversary. Now it's going to be her birthday's passed, and the next milestone is going to be our 20-year-old's 21st birthday, which is coming up soon. And life is going to bring lots of firsts, and then fifths, and then tenths, and 20ths, and who knows. I just have to keep going. Yeah, I'm probably just going too long in this, but again, there's nothing polished here. I have no idea how long I'll talk in any of these. I intend to do more. But it just, you got to give yourself some grace. You have to. All you do is beat myself up. I've beaten myself up so much, and then that just leads to anxiety and self-loathing, and then just lack of anything good. There's nothing I can do about the past. If I could change, I never wanted to change the past. I never wanted to change the past because it led me to the present. And the present, up until Melissa died, was exactly where I wanted to be. But now that she's dead, I would 100% go back and change the past. Like I don't care what the consequences were. I would go back and change the past, because I don't care what happens in the future. If I become like the world's richest, happiest, most helpful person, I would throw it all away to go back and have her with me. So that changed my whole outlook on life about changing the past. But on the again, advice that I'm finding that's given to me and is being helpful is just don't look at the mountain ahead of you, which are the things you have to do. Just look down and look at the path. Don't even look too far ahead of the path, just like just past your feet. Just do the little things. Just try to stay on the path. And if you get overwhelmed, just breathe. Do something. Watch TV. Do whatever it is you need. I find myself going for walks. I've started running. I was never much of a runner. Now I'm enjoying it because it gets my head off of it. Listen to some podcast, and then I just get lost in the exercise. But then I come back eventually. So at least it's a momentary reprieve. It helps with the anxiety. But whatever you got to do, and then if there's a day you just don't want to get out of bed, if that's what you want to do, that's what you do. Then just know that the next day is another day. The next moment is another moment. Don't look too far ahead. The future is my future is completely uncertain right now. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'll always be a photographer because I love photography and I always have a camera. I don't know if I want to go forward and be one professionally anymore. Because everything I did till now got me to where I am. And that used to be a good thing, but now I see it as bad. So we'll see what the future brings. Like I said, I'm not here to rah-rah. This is just my ramblings and it just is. So don't beat yourself up. Give yourself some space. Give yourself some love. I'm also finding affirmations, positive. I can't sleep if I don't listen to these things because when I wake up, I wake up and some thought gets into my head and it starts to roll over and take on weight and it just starts to become this snowball of worry. And so when there's no sounds, then it's just me, my inner dialogue. So putting these positive like sleep affirmations, which I'm finding on Spotify and Apple's got them and whatnot, but it helps. It helps. Again, it's not just like the music. The music is just droning and boring, which helps a little bit, but just the idea that I can concentrate on what they're saying as opposed to listening to my own inner voice. And what they're saying is typically what's going on, just very positive things. And it helps. It just keeps my inner voice from dominating the conversation. So I used to think that was just some new agey, hippie, dippy stuff. And I always like hippies, so don't get me wrong. I halfway wanted to be a hippie. I was born in the 60s, late 60s, of course. But yeah, maybe I was a pessimistic hippie. But the affirmations thing never seemed to be legit. But I'm finding they're helping. They're helping. Those, and sometimes I have to say it, just say them out loud and repeat them over and over to get the dark thoughts out of my head. It's worked. Again, it's for now, it's working. So I will take one day at a time. I'm making no big projections. The only thing I can say is I would imagine that Melissa would be upset with me if I gave into those dark thoughts. And the last thing I want to do is make her upset. Can you imagine? I don't believe fully in it or really at all in an afterlife, but I would kill to be wrong. I so want to be wrong. I want to get there and be hazed for being the guy that, hey, we told you so. You didn't want to. You never believed me. Okay, you're right. Here I am. What do I have to do? I'm just imagining that if I get there and if I had left the kids as orphans, how upset she would have been. She loves those kids so much. For me to just abandon them just for the easy way out to go see again to go try to reclaim my soul. It's a hard. Again, it shouldn't be a hard choice, but at points it was a hard choice. But the right choice is I can't leave them. I have to use her as motivation because not just the kids, but the idea how upset she would be if I left the girls without anybody. Of course, they've got some friends, they've got family, whatever, but to take their mom and their dad from them would just be a cruel thing. There are plenty of people out there that are in a worse situation than I am. So this is another thing that makes me feel bad about myself but then it puts me I try to get myself into check. I get everybody's situation is unique. Everybody's perspective is uniquely their own. But I know, so there's plenty of people out there who would look at my situation and go, I will trade with you in a heartbeat. And we can't do that. But right now, my situation for me is real. And knowing that there's people out there that have it worse than me, it makes me feel guilty. Sometimes guilt isn't what you really want to feel, but it does. But then it gives me a different perspective, and grasping for anything, whatever I can do. So it's one thing at a time. The old saying was, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. At certain times, it feels like the elephant's sitting on me. I can't get my arms up to get to the fork, so how am I going to eat it one bite at a time? Because it's crushing me. But we're going out, and one bite at a time, one moment at a time, one breath at a time, one thing at a time. And there's a quote by one of the Stoics, Epictetus. Now, of course, this is paraphrased, obviously, because I didn't speak Roman, and I guess Italian, Roman, whatever. I think it was like, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it. And so this is 100% true. So anyway, I'm doing my best. I'll get back to this another day, and stick in there.